अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमस्ते अतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित् सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। May He, the Supreme Lord, protect us both. May He, both means the teacher and the student, the teacher and the taught, may He nourish us both. May our study be thorough and fruitful. May we not hate each other. This is the meaning of Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. So this is the meaning of this mantra. May He, the Supreme Lord, protect us both. May He nourish us both. May our study be thorough and fruitful. May we not hate each other. So in our ancient tradition and even to this day, this I learnt when I was in training center, Belur Math, Kolkata, near Kolkata. So that is the headquarter of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. It is near Kolkata, Belur Math, Howrah district. So there we have training center. There I came to learn this, that this mantra is chanted before starting the class. So this is the wonderful mantra where we are praying for both teacher and the students, and also praying for making our study thorough and fruitful. To tell the Lord that may He, and also we are praying to the Lord that may the Lord nourish us, both the teacher and the student. So this nourishment not only in the physical level, we are nourished. When we take some good food, say delicious food, then we are nourished. When we can digest our food properly, then we are nourished. That is in the physical level. In the mental level, we are nourished when we study something good, when we hear something good, when we study scripture, when we think about God, when we think good thoughts, ennobling thoughts, that is how we are nourished mentally, and also when we are nourished spiritually, when we pray to God, when we are concerned, or when we think for others also. Not only thinking for ourselves, not only thinking or keeping ourselves busy with our own personal interest, but when we learn to think about others, to share, to care about others also, and to pray to God, and to most importantly when we learn to think that Atmavat Sarvabhuteshu, that is, our real nature is that Supreme Self, and that Supreme Self is one and the same in all beings, in all the beings, not only in human beings, but even in other creatures, in all the creatures, in animals, insects, birds, trees, the whole universe, the soul of the whole universe, that supreme consciousness, that is one and the same. So, when we are actually, the real unity is not in physical world. Physically we are all separate. I have a separate body, you have separate body. Every one of us, we have separate body. Every one of us have a separate body. We have separate body. But in spiritual level, we have also separate mind also. In mental level also we are separate, because I think in one way, my another friend may think in another way, another person may think in another way. So many different people, so many different kinds of thoughts. But in the spiritual level, we are all one and the same. There is no difference at all. That is, we are really Atman, and Atman is one and the same. That is, we are all united in the Atman. The unity is in the Atman. The diversity is in the body and mind. So this is called unity in diversity. Flowers may be different, but the thread that runs through all the flowers is one and the same. So our bodies, our culture, our appearance, our lifestyle, our way of thinking, they are different. All people have different ways of thinking, different ways of living, different lifestyle. So there is a diversity. Diversity must be there. In the diversity, in the body we cannot get real unity. The real unity is that we are all one and the same Atma. So I gave you the example of the thread that is running through all the flowers in a garland. And another example I can give you, it is not very difficult, even children can understand. Suppose we have hundreds of, say we have, for example, 10 pitchers. Pitcher means that is a pot, water pot. In Hindi it is called gagar. In Nepali it is called gagri or ghaito or whatever it may be. So pitcher, that is That picture is, there may be 10 pictures, different pictures of different designs, different designs, 10 pictures, all the 10 pictures are of different designs, different size, different look. But inside all those pictures, there is the same sky. Sky is the same. That is the space inside the picture, or there is the space inside the picture. So apparently what we see, this particular picture, so this is space. So this space is different. That picture has its own space inside. So that space, that sky inside the picture is different from the sky inside this picture, and in that picture it is different, in that picture it is different. All the 10 pictures, what we see, all the 10 pictures have its own sky, have its own space. So when we think of picture and when we associate the space with the picture, of space of this picture, space of that picture, space of that picture, space of that picture, space of that picture, like that, all the 10 pictures appears to be 10 different space, 10 different sky. But really speaking, there are not 10 different skies. The sky is one and the same, running through all the pictures. Because we associate the sky along with the pictures, then it appears as if there are 10 different skies. 10 different skies. But when we simply break the picture into pieces, what we see is same sky is running through all the pictures. Sky is one and the same, but it appears as many. It is one and the same, but appears as many. But through this example, we can also learn that the sky is one and the same. There are, though we associate it with 10 different pictures, it may appear as many, but really speaking, when we look into the truth, when we look beyond the pictures, sky is one and the same. Similarly, when we associate this Atman with so many different kinds of bodies, human bodies, and all different people, then animal body, insect body, and like that, they will appear as if there are so many different Atman, soul. But really speaking, soul or the consciousness or our real nature, Atman, the real we, the real I, the real you, the real all of us, we are one and the same. There is no difference at all. Same truth is running through all the different names and forms. So we are all one, though we appear as many. So in the spiritual level, we are nourished spiritually. We can really, when we can really see one indivisible, undivided self running through all of us, that is, we are all one. If I hurt another person, that means I am hurting myself. So that is how we have to look at things. I should not hurt anybody in this world, because all these different appearances are my own self. So when I hurt others, I am hurting myself. So I should have concern for others. I should be ready to help, to serve others, because by serving others, I am really serving myself. So the same Atman that is running through all the different bodies, all the different features. So that unity is in the Atman and the diversity is in the body. So body, they are different people, different bodies, different mind, everything is different. We should understand and recognize the differences also, but at the same time we should look beyond all the differences, and then we should look at everyone as our own self, that is as Atman. So let us, with this prayer, let us proceed ahead, and we will go to the life of Swami Vivekananda. Now, till now, he has not become Swami Vivekananda, he is still Narendranath Datta, because that is the childhood name of Swami Vivekananda. In the childhood, school days or boyhood days, he was known as Narendranath Datta. And here we are going to study the 5th chapter. Last time we studied Naren grows up, and then we also saw how Naren had joined Brahmo Samaj. He had become a member of the Brahmo Samaj. Keshav Chandra Sen was its leader, and Naren had learned music and to play several instruments also, to sing also. He was an accomplished musician of all different disciplines, khyal and dhrupad and instruments and everything. Today we shall study now the real Naren, how Naren becomes Vivekananda. That is, Naren meets Sri Ramakrishna. So Naren meets his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. Guru of Naren is Naren, future Swami Vivekananda is Sri Ramakrishna. Naren was interested in religion, but he had lost faith in many of the teachings of Hinduism. He did not know what to believe. He had gone to many religious people, but they could not help him. One day he decided to visit Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was a great Hindu saint. He came from a village called Kamarpur in the Hooghly district. At that time he was living at the Kali temple of Dakshineshwar near Calcutta. Now we call it Kolkata. He lived a life of prayer and meditation and thought always of God. Many people came to him and he solved their spiritual problems. Now, if your spiritual problem is solved, then all your problems will be solved. That you should understand. So Naren was interested in religion, but he had lost faith in many of the teachings of religion. Why? Because mostly people practiced lifeless rituals only. They did not, it is like you have the mobile phone but you don't have the SIM card inside. That kind of ritual. The real thing in religion is God. But people are so preoccupied with rituals, many times they forgot that God is the real thing for which we are all trying to love God. But people, what happened? People practiced lifeless things. That is why Swamiji says later on, serve man as God. Not merely seeing people, what happens, some people, they will go to the temple and they will pray to God. The God, image of God is made of, say some stone or something like that, and they will go there and pray, but when they come out, they will be neglecting their fellow brothers and sisters, neglecting their fellow brothers and sisters. They see God only in the images, but they don't see God in human beings, in other creatures. They don't serve other creatures. So that kind of religion, Swamiji, because of that kind of thing, Swamiji has lost faith in religion itself. But Sri Ramakrishna has said in one place that if God can be worshipped in the images, then why not through the real, why not through human being? Human being is the better image. If God can be worshipped through images, say stone images, stone image. So which image is better? Stone image is better or human image is better? Human image is better. If God can be worshipped through stone images, then why not through human images, the real, moving, the real man? Man is much better image. So it is like when you go to a shop and you buy one toy computer, say toy mobile phone. That is also for children, it is okay, that toy mobile phone is there or toy laptop is there, but it does not work like a real laptop. So when you have real laptop, you don't need the toy laptop. So when human beings, real images of God, God himself made human beings. It is better image. So we should worship God in human images also. That is what Sri Ramakrishna said. Sar Shiva Jnani Jiva Shiva. That is, look upon every creature, every jiva as God. And then worship does not mean that always you have to be ready there with flower and garland and some holy water and all these things. Worship means, third man is God means, when you deal with your fellow beings, when you deal with your human beings or fellow beings or your friends or whom you encounter in your daily life, you should think in your heart of heart that God himself has taken these different forms whom I am encountering. Suppose there is a teacher, he has to encounter his student, he has to deal with his student. The teacher should think that the God himself has taken the form of this student, these students. God himself has taken the form of these students. And when he thinks in his mind or in his heart of heart that those in front of me, these students, God himself has come to me in the form of these different children, different students, then his attitude towards those children will be different. He will be teaching better. He need not start worshipping children with flowers and garland and chandan paste and tika and all these things. That is not necessary. Because that is one way of worshipping God in the images, stone images or like that. That is one kind of ritual. But when we encounter different people, we should have that kind of attitude that God himself has taken all these different forms. So whom I am going to teach or whom I am going to deal with, they are all different forms of God. And when we know, when we have this attitude, we will have the feeling of reverence for those we are dealing with. So with that reverential attitude, when we serve them, our service will be worship. It will not be mere work. Our work will turn out to be worship. So when teachers teach their student, they can teach them by knowing that God Himself has come to me in the forms of student, and how the students should look upon the teacher or teacher. They also should think that God Himself has come to me in the form of teacher. So the attitude of student towards teacher will be of same kind of reverential attitude, and attitude of teacher towards the student also will be reverential attitude. Like suppose your profession is of a doctor, then you have to deal with the patient, then you should think that God Himself has taken the form of these patients. So the attitude will change, that reverential attitude. I have to serve them. Same way, patient also will think that doctor is God Himself has taken the form of doctor. That is, Ramakrishna tells in one place that God Himself has taken the form of doctor. That is, we should try to see inside of everything. Outside, they all appear as men or man, but inside, if we just penetrate, then we will see that God Himself has taken all these different forms. Then our attitude towards people will change. Then our work will convert into worship. So work work as worship, Swamiji says. Work as worship. So that work, whatever work we may do, morning and evening we may worship in the temple, we may sit in meditation, we may go to some temples and bow our head in front of the deity. But when we deal with people, deal with other people, that time we should think that it is God Himself who has taken form of all these different people. So then our work, whatever work we may do, that work will become worship. And that work itself will liberate us. Will liberate us from bondage of life and death. So that is how we should work. That was the teachings of Ramakrishna. But instead of that, when Swamiji is found, people saw God only in the images, but they are neglecting their fellow brothers and sisters, neglecting their fellow beings, neglecting teachers, and cheating people. So then, that time, Swamiji thought, people only go to temple and worship God there, but in real life they are not practicing this religion. So he lost faith in many of the teachings of Hinduism. He did not know what to believe. He had gone to many religious people, but they could not help him. They could not solve their problems, because many teachers of religion, even now, for them ritual itself is religion for them, but ritual is not religion. Ritual is like step towards religion, like reaching it, they are the steps to reach the roof. So that will help us to reach God. But we should have God in our view, that God is the ultimate reality, and when all our rituals are directed to God, but the same God whom we see in the images and worship Him is also present in all the teachers. So we should also have reverential attitude towards everyone. That is how our Upanishad teach Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava. So their mind, their worship was directed to that being who was very, very away from us, who was not in and around us. So that kind of religion could not satisfy Swamiji, and people did not know beyond this. So that is why one day he decided to visit Sri Ramakrishna because he was very popular, and one day his professor, Sir William Hastie, also had told him about Sri Ramakrishna of Dakshineswar, and he had heard about Sri Ramakrishna from Keshav Chandra Sen also. And Sri Keshav Chandra Sen used to frequently visit Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineswar, and Sri Ramakrishna also used to visit Keshav Sen. And Keshav Chandra Sen also had written some articles about Sri Ramakrishna. And through all these references, Narayan decided to visit Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was a great Hindu saint. He came from the village called Kamarpukur in the Hooghly district. At that time, he was living at Kali temple of Dakshineswar near Kolkata. He lived a life of prayer and meditation and thought always of God. Many people came to him and he solved their spiritual problems. So this we have read. This is here I don't see much to explain, but as we go through, then there will come many deeper thing will come about Sri Ramakrishna also. Before that, let me read something more. Narayan had heard about Sri Ramakrishna from his teacher, Professor Hastie, and from one of his relatives, that is Surendra. He had also seen him at the house of this relative in Calcutta. Now he decided to visit him at Dakshineswar to see whether Sri Ramakrishna could help him in any way. Narayan took a few friends with him. Sri Ramakrishna received them kindly, and Narayan sang 2 songs at his request. Then Sri Ramakrishna took him into another room. He treated Narayan as if he were a dear friend who had just returned from a long journey. He even wept for joy and fed Narayan with sweets with his own hands. Narayan could not understand all these things. He thought that perhaps Sri Ramakrishna was a madman. But he promised to Sri Ramakrishna, he promised to come again. When they returned to other rooms, Sri Ramakrishna began to speak about God. He said that we can see and speak to God just as we see and speak to our friends. Narayan did not know what to think. Sri Ramakrishna had acted in a strange way, but he also seemed to be a great saint. So what happened when Narayan for the first time went to meet Sri Ramakrishna? He took Narayan to a different room and then he started crying, where you had gone, like that. Oh Lord, where you had gone, you have come after making me wait for such a long time and all these things. And you are one of the sages of Saptarshi Mandal. We believe in Saptarshi Mandal. When we look at the sky, we will see 7 stars. And those 7 stars, according to our Puranas, are called 7 sages. And Sri Ramakrishna told, you are one of those 7 sages. You have come to this world for the welfare of the whole world. All these things Narayan could not understand how to do, because he was a student. He knew he was a student studying in college or university, and young man, his name was Narayan, and Sri Ramakrishna was addressing him in a completely different way. calling him Rishi and in a very, very highly reverential way. So he could not understand. The same thing will happen to us also. If somebody all of a sudden starts calling us addressing us with so much of reverence and this and that which we never expected, it will be shocking to us. So same thing happened to Naren. He could not understand the behavior of Sri Ramakrishna. But when Sri Ramakrishna came to the other room where other people were also sitting, that time he began to speak about God in a very normal way. And the question that Vivekananda, Naren, had took with him, or Naren was asking to all the religious teachers of those days, like Keshav Chandra Singh, Rabindranath Tagore, and other religious teachers, was this question Naren put to everyone. What was that question? Naren asked, "Sir, have you seen God?" And nobody could answer this question. They asked, Naren asked, he went to Devendranath Tagore and he asked, "Sir, have you seen God?" And Devendranath Tagore also was perplexed. He could not understand what to answer. And he said, "Your eyes are very good, and if you meditate, you will realize God." But he could not answer what Naren had asked. That is, whether he has seen God or not. That he could not answer. So he gave some other roundabout way answer. So he was not satisfied with anyone. Then when Naren went to Sri Ramakrishna, he asked this question to Sri Ramakrishna. And what was the question? "Sir, have you seen God?" And what was the answer given by Sri Ramakrishna? He said, "Yes, I have seen God more clearly than I see you, or I see these things." That is, God to me is more real. That is how we can understand. Suppose we are dreaming, and in our dream we see so many things. Hundreds of things we see. Suppose in our dream a tiger is chasing us. We are afraid of the tiger. We are shivering with fear. In the dream we are seeing all these things. A tiger is chasing. And then we are shivering with fear. And then what happens? All of a sudden we wake up. And then we find different kind of world. That we are lying on a bed, and in and around our room is there, maybe our study table is there, maybe our shrine is there, all these things. And our fear of tiger will vanish. Why? Because immediately we will realize that we have woken up, and this our waking state, when we are in dream state, and that tiger is not, or is less real. That tiger had chased us, we were shivering, we were afraid, and now we have woke up, and after waking up, when we see things in and around us, then our fear for the tiger vanishes, because we realize that this world, this waking world, things around us, is more real than the tiger which we just saw. So we can distinguish between the two. That tiger is less real, and now we have woken up, and our waking state and things around us in a waking state is more real. So this knowledge of more real things gives it dispels that idea that tiger is chasing us, because this is more real. Dream is less real. We can easily distinguish. Similarly to Sri Ramakrishna, God is more real than this world, what we see in and around us. That is what Sri Ramakrishna means. That I see God more intensely, in a more real sense, then I can see it. So God is more real than even our waking state. So now for us, this waking state is the most real thing at present. God is not that much real thing to us because we somewhere else, which we do not know where He is. We just have faith in God because our elders have told us, we have heard from people that God is there, and then we have faith in God and we pray to God. But really He exists or not, that is we do not know. With this waking state, what we see in and around us is more real to us than God. But to Sri Ramakrishna, God was more real. That is, he had seen God, he had woken, or he had woken to the real life, real world, that is the world of God. And when Sri Ramakrishna saw God in a more intense and real sense, he could see God in everything also. For him, everything was God. That is why he also addressed Narayan as Narayana, that is God himself. But Narayan could not understand this behavior of Sri Ramakrishna. But Narayan was convinced, he was satisfied with the answer of Sri Ramakrishna because no one else till now could give this kind of emphatic and convincing answer. So, for the first time, here is a person who could say that, yes, I have seen God, and I have seen God more intensely as a more real being than what this waking state, this world is. So God is more real to me. Only a realized person can tell with so much of conviction, others cannot say like this. So that conviction which came out from Sri Ramakrishna could immediately influence Swami Vivekananda, that is Narayan. And though here what happened, Narayan was little puzzled. The answer of Sri Ramakrishna was so convincing. At the same time, Sri Ramakrishna's behavior Narayan could not understand, but somehow he could feel in his heart of heart that something is there in Sri Ramakrishna which is different from all other religious teachers. Here is something. So he promised to Sri Ramakrishna that I will come again. And he visits also. So those things we will study in our next Sunday class. In the month of October, our class will be from, according to India time, it is 4:45 to 5:45, something like that. And then according to Nepal time, it is 5 to 6. So our prayer will start within a short time, and till then we can play some music and Arati will start immediately. Other things will, what happened when Narayan visits Ramakrishna next time, some strange and interesting things happen, and those things we will see in our next class. Now I will go offline. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Before that, let me pray. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhino Sarve Santu Nirabhayo Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavi. In a free translation I will give of it. That is not exact translation, but its meaning I will translate. May all be happy, may all be healthy, may all realize what is good, May the world be free from this coronavirus pandemic. This is new addition to this prayer. And may none be subject to misery. Om peace, peace, peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.